Shalom family, it's your man Elijah. Thank you for joining me at Unsectarian Wisdom as usual. I'm a healthy, wise, strong, protected, celestial being that is loved by the Most High Creator. Family, you saw the title, Get Off My Head. First off, it's good to see y'all. We ain't talked in a minute, but I got a teaching for y'all. This is one that's been on my spirit as of late, and I want to go ahead and put it out. You know, one thing that annoys me is crazy how, you know, I have conversations with people, and this has happened a few times, and you know, they'll be trying their hardest to convince me that they know the word, and you know, and I ain't got no problem with it. And you know, some of them, you know, might pique my interest a bit, but then by the end of the conversation, it's crazy. You know, we'll have a great conversation, we'll be vibing. And, you know, they'll be like, man, it's crazy that you know so much about the word. I can see you're well studied, well versed, you know. And then they'll hit me with, but I just can't understand why your hair is so long. And then that's just like the biggest turnoff to me right there. Like, that's one of the main things that I'll stop talking to a person. Because right there, you just showed me your true ignorance and where you are in your journey. How you just sat there this whole time trying to impress me, trying to show me that you knew the word, even though I didn't ask you to, but you just seemed maybe threatened by me or whatever, or you just want to show me that you touched by the Holy Spirit or whatever. And then you show yourself. You just showed your butt. Like, for you to say something like that and say you know the word or you know the Most High, and then turn around and judge me, like I've literally had somebody turn around and tell me the reasons, you know, basically in so many words that, you know, I'd do better if I cut my hair. You know, that I'm a bad person. Just assuming so much stuff. And the whole time I'm sitting here being respectful, looking in the eye, we having a conversation about the Most High and my hair. And I'm just thinking like, why are you tripping off my hair? But anyway, let's go ahead and hop in, family. This is going to be one of those ones. I don't know how long it's going to take, but bear with me. You can come back later. Maybe it'll take long, maybe it won't. But nah, it's going to be a little bit because I got some reading to do. I got some stuff to introduce to you. But let's go ahead and let's just go ahead and jump in, family. Let's jump in. Get off my hair. Determining when the Bible was written possesses challenges because it isn't a single book. It's a collection of 66 books written by more than 40 authors over more than 2,000 years. So there are two ways to answer the question. When was the Bible written? The first is to identify the original dates for each of the Bible's 66 books. The second, the focus here, is to describe how and when all 66 books were collected in a single volume. We can say with some certainty that the first widespread edition of the Bible was assembled by Saint Jerome around AD 400. This manuscript included all 39 books of the Old Testament and the 27 books of the New Testament in the same language, Latin. This edition of the Bible is commonly referred to as the Vulgate. Jerome wasn't the first to select all 66 books we know today as the Bible. He was the first to translate and compile everything into a single volume. The first step in assembling the Bible involves the 39 books of the Old Testament, also referred to as the Hebrew Bible, beginning with Moses, who wrote the first 5 books of the Bible. These books were written over the centuries by prophets and leaders. By the time of Jesus and his disciples, the Hebrew Bible had already been established as 39 books. This was what Jesus meant when he referred to the scriptures. After the early church was established, people such as Matthew started writing historical records of Jesus' life and ministry, which became known as the Gospels. Church leaders such as Paul and Peter wanted to provide direction for the churches they established, so they wrote letters that were circulated throughout congregations in different regions. We call these the epistles. A century after the launch of the church, hundreds of letters and books explained who Jesus was and what he did and how to live as his followers. it became clear that some of these writings weren't authentic. Church members began to ask which books should be followed and which ignored. Eventually, Christian church leaders worldwide gathered to answer major questions, including which books should be regarded as scripture. These gatherings included the Council of Nicaea in AD 325 and the First Council of Constantinople in AD 381, which decided a book should be included in the Bible if it was written by one of Jesus' disciples, someone who was a witness to Jesus. Ministry such as Peter or someone who intervened witnesses, such as Luke, written in the 1st century AD, meaning that books written long after the events of Jesus' life and the first decades of the church weren't included. Consistent with other portions of the Bible known to be valid, meaning the book couldn't contradict a trusted element of Scripture. After a few decades of debate, these councils largely settled which books should be included in the Bible. A few years later, all were published by Jerome in a single volume. By the time the 1st century AD ended, most of the church had agreed on which books should be considered scripture. The earliest church members took guidance from the writings of Peter, Paul, Matthew, John, and others. The later councils and debates were largely useful in weeding out inferior books that claimed the same authority. Give me a second, family. I want to make sure I'm in the right place right now. I'll put this over here. Bear with me for a second, family. My bad. Okay, where are we at? Okay. No, that's not supposed to happen. Okay. Now, Deuteronomy chapter 4 verses 1 through 14. Now, O Israel, listen to the statutes and the judgments which I teach you to observe, that you may live and go in and possess the land which the Lord God of your fathers is giving you. You shall not add to the word which I command you, nor take from it, that you may keep the commandments of the Lord your God which I command you. Your eyes have seen what the Lord did at Baal Peor, for the Lord your God has destroyed from among you all the men who followed Baal of Peor. But you who held fast to the Lord your God are alive today, every one of you. Surely I have taught you statutes and judgments, just as the Lord my God commanded me, that you should act according to them in the land which you go to possess. Therefore, be careful to observe them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the peoples, who will hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is wise and understanding people. Surely this nation is a wise and understanding people. For what great nation is there that has God so near to it as the Lord our God is to us, for whatever reason we may call upon him? And what great nation is there that has such statutes and righteous judgments as are in all this law which I set before you this day? Only take heed to yourself, and diligently keep yourself, lest you forget the things your eyes have seen, and lest they depart from your heart all the days of your life, and teach them to your children and your grandchildren, especially concerning the day you stood before the Lord your God in Horeb, when the Lord said to me, gather the people to me, and I will let them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days they live on the earth, and that they may teach their children. Then you came near and stood at the foot of the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire to the midst of heaven, with darkness, cloud, and thick darkness. And the Lord spoke to you out of the midst of the fire. You heard the sound of the words, but saw no form. You only heard a voice. So he declared to you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform. The 10 commandments, he wrote them on 2 tablets of stone. And the Lord commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and judgments, that you might observe them in the land which you cross over to possess. Alright, 1 second, family. Okay, yeah, so let me read this beginning part again. This is important. Now, O Israel, listen to the statutes and judgments which I teach you to observe, that you may live and go in and possess the land which the Lord God, your Father, is giving you. You shall not add to the word which I command you, nor take from it. Let's go to the next. Moses right there was talking about the 10 commandments. So that's what he was giving to him. So let's go ahead and go through them. Deuteronomy chapter 5. I was just reading Deuteronomy chapter 4. Not too far. We talking about the same thing. So this is what he was talking about. Do not add to or take away from. Deuteronomy chapter 5, verses 6 through 22. I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage. Thou shalt have none other gods before me. Thou shalt not make thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters beneath the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself unto them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as the Lord thy God hath commanded thee. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thine ox, nor thine ass, nor any of thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates, that thy manservant and thy maidservants may rest as well as thou. And remember that thou wast a servant in the land of Egypt, and that the Lord thy God brought thee out thence through a mighty hand, and by a stretched out arm. Therefore the Lord thy God commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day. Honor thy father and thy mother, as the Lord thy God hath commanded thee, that thy days may be prolonged, and that it may go well with thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, neither shalt thou commit adultery, neither shalt thou steal, neither shalt thou bear false witness against thy neighbor, neither shalt thou desire thy neighbor's wife, neither shalt thou covet thy neighbor's house, his field, or his manservant, or his maidservant, his ox, or his ass, or anything that is thy neighbor's. These words the Lord spake unto all your assembly in the mounts, out of the midst of the fire, of the cloud, and of the thick darkness, with a great voice. And he added no more. And he wrote them in 2 tablets. And he wrote them in 2 tablets of stone, and delivered them unto me. And what did it say again? Now, O Israel, listen to the statutes and the judgments which I teach you to observe, that you may live and go in and possess the land which the Lord God of your fathers is giving you. You shall not add to the word. You shall not add to the word which I command you, nor take from it. All right. Let's keep going. Also, I got some notes, family, that I read for the slides. So when you hear me reading and you don't see where I'm reading from, it's because I wrote specific notes for slides. I've done that before, so don't be surprised. All right, let's go to the next one. Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 2, New King James Version. You shall not add to the word which I command you, nor take from it, that you may keep the commandments of the Lord your God which I command you. It's important, family. That's why I'm reiterating on it, right? Okay. Okay. So all right. So I got some notes. I'm gonna go ahead and read. For the purpose of understanding and establishing the main subject matter of this teaching, the length of a man's hair, we had to first establish the Most High Creator's only established laws, so that we may understand the difference between the Creator's lawful orders and man's opinion. The book of Deuteronomy stated clearly that Moses came down Mount Sinai holding 2 tablets engraved with only 10 commandments written by the hand of the Most High Creator. That we, as the children of Israel, may not add to these commandments nor take away from them. And that order applies to the doings of the Gentiles as well. Understand that the Bible holding the so-called Old and New Testament are a collection of 88 independently written books that were all compiled together to form the book that we call the Bible today. And by doing so, we have contradicted the order to not add to the word which I command you, nor take from it. Understand that the 5 books of Torah, Old and New Testament writings, are all additions to the 10 commandments and technically unlawful. And this infraction has caused hundreds, if not thousands of years of confusion within the community of faith, causing men and women alike for centuries to throw away and forsake the true laws of the Creator for the laws, traditions, and opinions of men. Now am I saying that the books of the Bible are wrong, useless, and uninspired? Never, because it is these very books that give us a deeper understanding of the laws by breaking them down, as well as giving us examples of what happens when you decide to follow or not follow the Most High Creator's laws by the written accounts of our ancestors. My objective is to make a clear distinction between the law or voice of the Most High Creator and the voices and opinions of mankind. All right. Matthew chapter 5 verse 17. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. I'm trying to give y'all, and remember the red letter, that's when Yahushua is speaking. When Mashiach is speaking, Messiah, the Christ is speaking. You know, he co-signing on what? The commandments. Matthew chapter 5 verse 7. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill the law, to live by the law that the Most High Creator gave us. And the prophets, right? But the prophets spoke of what? The law of the Most High. The prophets are always, the Most High sends prophets most of the time, right? Because what? People are being sinful in the land. And the Most High sends the prophets to tell the people to return back to the Most High, to return back to the law, to the commandments. So that's what we're talking about, right? Hold on, let me catch up on my slides over here, family. 1 second. Okay. Matthew chapter 22, verse 36 through 40. Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these 2 commandments. Let me read that again. Matthew chapter 22, verses 36 through 40. Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these 2 commandments. All right. Give me a second, family. I want to make sure I'm in the right place. 11 and 12. Read personal for the slides. 11 to, okay. We good. Matthew chapter 16, verses 6 through 12. Then Jesus said to them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, it is because we have taken no bread. But Jesus, being aware of it, said to them, O you of little faith, why do you reason among yourselves, because you have brought no bread? Do you not yet understand or remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000, and how many baskets you took up? Nor the 7 loaves of the 4,000, and how many large baskets you took up? How is it you do not understand that I did not speak to you concerning bread, but to beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Then they understood that he did not tell them to beware of the leaven of bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Let me read that again. Matthew chapter 16, verse 6 through 12. Then Jesus said to them, "Take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees." And they reasoned among themselves, saying, "It is because we have taken no bread." But Jesus, being aware of it, said to them, "O you of little faith, why do you reason among yourselves, because you have brought no bread? Do you not yet understand or remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000 and how many baskets you took up? Nor the 7 loaves of the 4,000 and how many large baskets you took up? How is it you do not understand that I did not speak to you concerning bread, but to beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees?" Then they understood that he did not tell them to beware of the leaven of bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and Sadducees. The doctrine of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Remember that, family. That's important. He's talking about, the traditions of man, the traditions of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Stuff that has nothing to do with the 10 Commandments, right? All right. Acts chapter 23, verse 6, New King James Version. But when Paul perceived that one part were Sadducees and the other Pharisees, he cried out in the council, "Men and brethren, I am a Pharisee, the son of a Pharisee. Concerning the hope and resurrection of the dead, I am being judged." Let me read that again. Listen to what he's saying. This is important. Acts chapter 23, verse 6. This is Paul talking. But when Paul perceived that one part were Sadducees and the other Pharisees, he cried out to the council, "Men and brethren, I am a Pharisee, the son of a Pharisee. Concerning the hope and resurrection of the dead, I am being judged." All right, I got some notes on this. The Apostle Paul is important to this teaching because it is his epistles written to the congregation in Corinth that we will be dissecting. More specifically, Corinthians chapter 11 verses 1 through 16 is the main subject of this teaching. But before we dive deep into the passage, there are 2 points of understanding that I must first make clear before moving forward. Number 1, that it is important that you know and realize that the majority of the writings of Paul in the New Testament are not actually books, and that the Apostle Paul never intended for them to be considered as infallible holy books, because the epistles of Paul are, just as their name suggests, letters, handwritten letters sent to specific congregations of believers that Paul had set up during his travels. Letters intended to address and correct the specific problems that arise at each individual congregation separately. What his letters were not is holy edicts sent by the king to every church as if they were new laws to be followed to the letter without thought or hesitation. Number 2, understand that not only was the Apostle Paul a former Pharisee, but also a human man capable of having a biased predisposition and making mistakes, which Paul admits himself in his epistle, 2 Corinthians 12, 7 through 8, by writing, Second Corinthians chapter 12, verse 7 through 8. "Unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. For this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me." Let me read that again. "Unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. For this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me." So, the thorn Paul was speaking of is the pride of men, displaying that he, being one blessed by the king himself, is still subject to the flesh at times. I point this thorn out in order to show that Paul himself is capable of falling back into the habits of traditions, doctrine, and the spirit of organized religion that he was brought up and trained in his entire life before meeting Yahushua. Please keep in mind that nothing I have said is to discredit Paul or his teachings. On the contrary, Paul's writings are very valuable. When it comes to breaking down and understanding the laws of the Creator, just understand that because of the nature of the flesh, Paul is capable of bias, making mistakes, having his words misinterpreted, mistranslated, or even purposely changed by the evil desires of others to confuse the masses. Family, I just want y'all to understand here what I'm saying, so nobody, gets the wrong message. I'm not harping on Paul. Matter of fact, I have a what's a good word for it? Let me just say it. Look, I like the writings of Paul because the writings of Paul have taught me a lot. If you actually take the time to read the writings of Paul, go over them more than once, meditate on them and pray on them, they actually give you a lot of understanding. Paul's letters have helped me gain tremendous understanding and break through barriers in my life when it came to not understanding certain things because of the way that he breaks them down. But one thing I need people to understand is people, in my opinion, but this is the truth, make this mistake of turning Paul into Yahushua or God. Because the way that I see it is, in the end of the day, it's not that you don't take the word of the prophets or the disciples. It's not saying that you can't learn from them. It's not saying that you cannot cite them as sources. But at the end of the day, the final word, the final say-so to me comes from the Most High or Yahushua. And when you read the Bible, it tells you when it is the Most High speaking. Or in the red letters, it tells you when Yahushua. So I'm one of those persons that I'm not going to sit here and tell you, well, this is law because Paul or Peter or John and them. I will cite them to you and use them as references, especially when I understand what they're saying to help explain my point. But to me, their words will never override the word of the Most High, Yahushua. And I think that is a problem that we have in society when it comes to, this is why I don't like the when people say the Old Testament and New Testament. There is no separation to me. They're all, first off, they were all separate books in the first place. And Yahushua or the Most High never specifically said, take these books right here and put them all together and cause millions of people for thousands of years to say this is the infallible word of the Most High. It's not to say that these are not words that were, dang it, what's the word? I'm not saying that these words were not sent by the Most High. What's the word? What's that word when people talk about? I'm not saying these aren't words that are not inspired by the Holy Spirit. I'm not saying that these aren't writings that the Most High inspired the disciples or whatever individuals wrote these books. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they're not Holy Spirit inspired words. What I'm saying is, I don't believe in putting these over the commandments of the Most High or the word of Yahushua. I don't believe that we should. That's not what I believe at all. Like when people go around and these Christian churches telling you we're done away with the law and you no longer have to follow the 10 Commandments. That's BS, because Yahushua, who you say you follow in the Christian church, so-called Jesus Christ, right? Or Jesus or Zeus, whatever. He said, I did not come to destroy the law, but to fulfill. But then your pastor, a man in flesh, is going to sit here and tell you, well, Paul said that he destroyed the law. And then on top of that, really not even explain to you, because Paul never actually said, look, it might say that, but if you actually listen to Paul, what he said was, I hated the law, and the law was done away with once the law became a part of me. Because once the law became a part of me, I no longer had to follow it because it became second nature to me. So it's not that Paul didn't follow the law anymore. It's that he no longer had to fight to follow the law. No longer had to struggle because now it was a part of him. It was second nature. It wasn't religion. It was just a way of life. And I know that's a crazy way to put it. And I don't remember. And I got to go back and find that verse because I always quote that verse. It might be Acts. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that because I should have brought up for this lesson, but I'm going off the cuff right now, so I didn't think about using it as I was writing it. But I just want y'all to understand that where I'm coming from. I don't want you to think I'm trying to crap on Paul, because like I said, I have a lot of respect for Paul's writings. They've taught me a lot, you know, and I really do think a lot of people misquote Paul and they don't know what they're talking about when they talk about Paul, especially when they talk about he said do away with the law and you can go do it. That's not what he said. That's not what he said at all. This is why it says get thine own understanding. But let's go ahead and I digress. Let's go ahead and keep moving. All right, so now we on. Hold on 1 second, family. Make sure I don't lose where I'm at right now. Okay, yeah, okay, here we go. Oh, snap. Did I not read this one? Okay, yeah. Wait, hold on. What happened, family? Hold on 1 second. Where am I? Give me a second, family. I lost where... I kind of lost my... I lost my bearing. Hold on. Okay, yeah. I lost my bearing. Give me a second. Okay. Okay. Alright. Oh, I'm glad I didn't even switch. Okay. Hold on once. Okay, so here we go to the next one. So I'm gonna do some reading now in Corinthians. All right. Remember, we're doing verses 1 through 16. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ. Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God. Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head. But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered, dishonoreth her head. For that is even all one, as if she were shaven. For if the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of God. But the woman is the glory of the man. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head, because of the angels. Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in the Lord. For as the woman is of the man, even so is the man also by the woman, but all things of God. Judge in yourselves. Is it comely that a woman pray unto God uncovered? Doth not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him? But if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her, for her hair is given her for a covering. But if any man seem to be contentious, we have no such custom, neither the churches of God. I'm reading this chapter twice, family. This was read from the King James Version. I'm telling you guys, versions is important. This is the KJV. Let me read that last part again for you. But if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her, for her hair is given her for a covering. But if any man seem to be contentious, we have no such custom, neither the churches of God. Matter of fact, let me go back. Doth not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him? But if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her, for her hair is given her for a covering. But if any man seem to be contentious, we have no such custom, neither the churches of God. I wanted to read that, family. I want to read that for you because this is that main reason why people always try to come at you when you got long hair. Because of this right here. And the preachers, or it's like they never read past this part where it says, doth not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him? We're going to break this down, family. They never get past that part. They never get to the part where it says, but if any man seem to be contentious, we have no such custom. We have no such custom. What did it say earlier? Beware of the leaven, right? The traditions of man, the doctrines and tradition of man. Not the 10 Commandments. The doctrines and traditions of man. But let's keep going. This one is reading from, I believe this one is NIV. And you should follow my example just as I follow Christ. Instructions for public worship. I am so glad, dear friends, that you always keep me in your thoughts. And you are following the Christian teaching I pass on to you. But there is one thing I want you to know. A man is responsible to Christ. A woman is responsible to her husband. And Christ is responsible to God. A man dishonors Christ if he covers his head while praying or prophesying. But a woman dishonors her husband if she prays or prophesies without a covering on her head. For this is the same as shaving her head. Yes, if she refuses to wear a head covering, she should cut off all her hair. And since it is shameful for a woman to have her hair cut or her head shaved, then she should wear a covering. A man should not wear anything on his head when worshiping, for man is God's glory, made in God's own image. But woman is the glory of man. For the first man didn't come from woman, but the first woman came from man. And man was not made for woman's benefit, but woman was made for man. So a woman should wear a covering on her head as a sign of authority, because the angels are watching. But in relationships among the Lord's people, women are not independent of men, and men are not independent of women. For although the first woman came from man, all men have been born from women ever since, and everything comes from God. What do you think about this? Is it right for a woman to pray to God in public without covering her head? Isn't it obvious that it's disgraceful for a man to have long hair? And isn't it obvious that long hair is a woman's pride and joy? For it has been given to her as a covering. But if anyone wants to argue about this, all I can say is that we have no other custom than this. And all the churches of God feel the same way about this. I hope y'all notice that. This is the NIV, the New International Version. And I've said this before, family. You have to be careful about, look, before I start that, I do suggest the NIV to people to read. I read it myself because it, especially for beginners. But I always suggest that you not only have an NIV, but you at least have a King James, as old as you can find, because there are certain scriptures in, like, especially, okay, as the years go by, family, especially in the so-called modern age, in the newer printed version of Bibles, family, they change. They're starting to, or have, well, not even starting to, but have already been doing this for years. But as we get further, along, they're starting to change them even more. And most people don't notice because most people don't put in the time to study. They don't read the old books, and this isn't what they do with their time. So they don't notice the little changes that people make. Once again, I want to read this. But if any, we're at verse 16. But if anyone wants to argue about this, all I can say is that we have no other custom than this, and all the churches of God feel the same way about it. That's the NIV. All right, now let me go back to the King James. And what does the King James say? But if any man seem to be contentious, we have no such custom, neither the churches of God. Did you not see that? You see what I just read, family? Let me read that again. But if any man seem to be contentious, we have no such custom, neither the churches of God. So why is the King James saying that this is not a custom? But then you get to the NIV, and the NIV says, but if anyone wants to argue about this, all I can say is that we have no other custom than this. And all the churches of God feel the same way about it. Really? They do? Because the King James says something different. So anyway, then once again, I'm not telling you not to read the NIV. I just tell people, don't just have an NIV. If you have an NIV, Make sure you have a King James version as old as possible. The older the Bible, the more accurate. But the newer, the less accurate, because they change it. All right. Hold on. This is give me a second, family. I'm making sure I'm gonna make sure I'm in the right place right now. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and keep moving, right? Okay. Hebrew chapter 4 verse 12. For the word of God is living and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the division of soul and spirit and of joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Read that again. Hebrews chapter 4 verse 12. For the word of God is living and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the division of soul and spirit and of joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. All right, I got some notes on this I'm about to read. The word is indeed alive, and because it is alive, it changes as you move through life, gaining more wisdom and knowledge through experience. So what the word meant to you as a 15-year-old teenager will mean something different to you as a 30-year-old adult, full of life and experience. The word is a magical code book full of secrets that I must first make clear. Hold on. Oh, my bad. The word is a magical code book full of secrets that can only be unlocked by reading line upon line, precept upon precept. And matter of fact, hold on, family. Let me start all over because that really bothered me. I wasn't paying attention. Hold on. The word is indeed alive. And because it is alive, it changes as you move through life, gaining more wisdom and knowledge through experience. So what the word meant to you as a 15-year-old teenager will mean something different to you as a 30-year-old adult full of life and experience. The word is a magical code book full of the secrets that can only be unlocked by reading line upon line, precept upon precept, and here a little and there a little. When you first begin reading it, you may only be able to grasp its surface level knowledge. In other words, it's simply black and white, straightforward. Thou shalt not kill, simple. Thou shalt not steal, simple. And thou shalt not commit adultery, simple. But if you continue to study the word and keep it in your heart as you progress through life and experiencing things like stealing or being stolen from, committing adultery, or having your significant other cheat on you, or God forbid you commit murder, someone tries to murder you, or someone close to you is killed. Now what was once just a surface level of understanding of the word has all of a sudden gone deeper below the surface of what you read before. And now you find yourself having a deeper understanding of the message because not only have you just read it, but now you felt it and tasted it. So no longer is it simply, So no longer is it simply don't steal, kill, lie, or commit adultery. But because you have now experienced these things, you know the toll they take on your mind, body, and soul. Now giving you a deeper understanding of the word, and it's showing you things you didn't notice or truly understand before because of a lack of experience. I'm speaking to you of these things before we move forward with the teaching, because yet again I am touching on a topic that has been done to death, a topic that many teachers and preachers have touched on, but I believe it is a topic that needs to be touched upon again to gain a deeper understanding from the point of view given to me by the Creator. All right. So bear with me, family. second. And let me make sure we have pick 4. Alright. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is Corinthians 11, chapter 11 from the CEPHER Bible family. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Mashiach. Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Mashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Mashiach is Yahuwah. Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonors his head. Alright. Now I got some notes on it. I want to start off by stating that these first few verses could and are speaking on more than one subject matter. As I said before, the surface level meaning and the spiritual meaning below the surface. Starting with the surface, I want to refer everyone back to Matthew chapter 16, verses 6 through 12, when Yahushua warned his disciples to beware the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, aka the traditions of man and their religious doctrines that did not align with the true laws of the Most High Creator. Traditions like wearing extra long tassels that drag on the ground, praying and giving food to the poor in public for all eyes to see you doing it, as to look more holy than others and gain popularity. And as Paul just mentioned, every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonors his head. What Paul meant spiritually when he said every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonors his head. Hold on, let me read it. What Paul meant spiritually when he said every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonors his head. Not meaning your literal head, but sitting under a religious organization that places a fleshly man over you that you call rabbi, teacher, or preacher. Remember the Bible says you shouldn't call any man teacher except for Yahushua. And like the blind leading the blind, you allow this fleshly man to become your God, leading you straight to hell. Instead of your head or teacher being Yahushua or creator directly, which relationship you build by reading line upon line, precept upon precept, here little and there little. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and in all thy getting get understanding. Faith without works is dead, for we walk by faith, not by sight. Paul said it first in verses 1 and 3. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Mashiach. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Mashiach. This does not mean you cannot seek advice or spiritual counsel from another man. Just don't turn that man into an idol, making him into your God. Always put the Most High first before all, even Yahushua. Because even Yahushua's purpose is only to lead you to the Most High Creator until you can stand on your own 2 feet spiritually. Verse 3. The head of Mashiach is Yahuwah. Remember, Mashiach is another word for Christ, by the way, family, just in case, y'all lost me there. Starting from surface level, verse 3. And the head of the woman is... Oh, hold on. Yeah, okay. Starting from surface level, verse 3. And the head of the woman is the man, referring to her husband, helpmate, Okay, my bad. Let me go back, family. 1 second. Let me see. Starting from... Hold on, let me make sure. Okay, yeah. Starting from surface level, verse 3, and the head of the woman is the man, referring to her husband or helpmate, biblically speaking, marriage. Verses 5 through 6. Hold on, okay, let me read this real quick, family, off the screen for you. Not every woman who prays or prophesies with an uncovered head disgraces the head itself, but it is a disgrace for those who are shaven. For if the woman is sheared, yet wholly covered, such women are not obscene when wholly covered. For a man indeed... Oh, yeah, I went too far. Not every woman who prays or prophesies with an uncovered head disgraces the head itself, but it is a disgrace for those who are shaven. For if the woman is sheared, yet wholly covered, such women are not obscene when wholly covered. Alright, verses 5 through 6. A woman with an uncovered head represents a single, unmarried woman. The shaven head woman refers to an prostitute or single woman that just sleeps with men without being married to them. A woman that has no respect for the Most High Creator and the commandments. Keep in mind that during biblical times, a woman with uncovered long hair, or especially uncovered short hair, was considered to be a prostitute or adulterous woman. So hold on, let me reinstate something. Starting from the surface level, verse 3, and the head of the woman is the man, referring to her husband, helpmate, biblically speaking. Remember, what did Paul say? Paul said the head of man is Yahushua, and the head of the woman is the man. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so turn to Pic 5. Give me a second, family. I kind of, okay, yeah, okay, so now, I just messed that up right there. That's all. Okay, yeah, that's my fault. I messed up somewhere where I was doing my, thing. But anyway, let's go back here real quick. According to the, okay, hope y'all can see this. According to the description of the priestly garb, this is from the internet, by the way. According to the description of the priestly garb in Exodus, the high priest wore a mitre, and the ordinary priest a hat. It was generally considered a sign of mourning to cover the head and face. In Talmudic times, two men expressed their sense of grief, while mourning by covering their heads, as did Bar Kapara after the death of Judah Hanasi, a mourner, one on whom a ban had been pronounced, and a leper were in fact obliged to cover their heads, as was anyone who fasted in times of drought. These people had to muffle their heads and faces. It was considered an expression of awe before the divine presence to conceal the head and face, especially while praying or engaged in the study of mysticism. The headgear of scholars was an indication of their elevated position. Talking about that tradition, family, remember the leaven. Some of them claim that they never walked more than 4 cubits, about 6 feet, without a head covering. The custom was, however, restricted to dignified personages. You hear that? Restricted to dignified personages. In other words, those Sadducees and Pharisees. Bachelors doing so were considered presumptuous. Artistic presentation, such as Egyptian and Babylonian tablets, or the synagogue at Dura Europos generally depicted Israelites and later Jews without head covering. On the other hand, some rabbis believed that covering a child's head would ensure his piety and prevent his becoming a thief. Superstition. According to the Talmud, it was optional and a matter of custom for men to cover their heads. Palestinian custom, moreover, did not insist that the head be covered during the priestly benediction. French and Spanish rabbinical authorities during the Middle Ages followed this ruling and regarded the covering of the head during prayer and the study of the Torah merely as a custom. Some of them prayed with a bare head themselves. However, rules that a person who is improperly dressed and has no headgear may not act as the Hazan or as the reader of the Torah in the synagogue, and may not invoke the priestly benediction upon the congregation. Once again, tradition over a hat. So I can't read because I ain't got a hat on. Moreover, the covering of the head as an expression of the fear of God and as a continuation of the practice of the Babylonian scholars was, you hear it said, Babylonian scholars, was gradually endorsed by the Ashkenazi rabbis. Even they stated, however, that it was merely a worthy custom and that there was, no injunction against praying without a head cover. The opinion of David Halevi of Ostrog is an exception. He declared that since Christians generally pray bareheaded, the Jewish prohibition to do so was based on the biblical injunction not to imitate the heathen custom. Traditional Jewry came to equate bareheadedness with unseemly light-mindedness and frivolity, and therefore forbids it. The covering of the head has become one of the most hotly debated points of controversy between Reform and Orthodox Jewry. The latter regards the covering of the head, both outside and inside the synagogue, as a sign of allegiance to Jewish tradition, not as a sign to God, but an allegiance to Jewish tradition, and demands that at least a skull cap be worn. Worship with covered heads is also the accepted rule in conservative synagogues and Reformed congregations. However, it is optional. All right. Now let's go back to here, family. One second. Okay. Let me go right here. Okay, so. Hold on a second. Let me make sure I'm on. Okay. Spiritually speaking, Paul is saying that it is not disgraceful to the Most High Creator, or Yahushua, for a single woman to pray or prophesy, as long as she is yet wholly covered, aka a believer in Yahushua and follower of the Most High Creator. That is not obscene, aka out in these streets, sleeping around, willfully breaking the commandments, dressing or acting inappropriately, lusting after single and married men. Verse 5. Hold on, okay. Let me read that again, family. Obscene, remember, it says, dang it. Remember, okay, so it says, for if the woman is sheared yet wholly covered, such women are not obscene when wholly covered. Obscene, in other words, like I just said, fam, they not doing too much. They not in there, like when you go to church back in the day, and it look like they coming in there and dress like they going to the club. A woman who is truly committed to the Most High, who's unselfish, is not going to go into church dressed like that, because she knows she's going to distract the men. Even distract the children, or even set a bad example for the children, the young girls, the young boys. dressing or acting inappropriately, lusting after single and married men. Verse 5, but it is a disgrace for those who are shaven. Once again, referring to inappropriate, lustful women sleeping around or non-believers. So not every woman who prays or prophesies. Hold on. Let me go back real quick, family, because I want to make sure I explain this. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Mashiach. This is what Paul's saying, family. Remember I said, be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Mashiach. Even though you following Paul, who is Paul following? Yahushua. And you only follow Yahushua, or you only follow Paul or whatever man you follow until you're able to stand on your 2 feet spiritually. But even though you're following this man in the flesh or getting advice from them, you're not following them and making them into an idol. You're not acting like they're infallible or they can never do anything wrong or God or they'll get you to the kingdom. You're only, like I said, you're learning, especially if you're a younger man. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with getting advice. But know that at the end of the day, the end goal should be a personal relationship between you and the Most High yourself. You know, you should even move past the relationship with Yahusha. I mean, always have a relationship with Yahusha. But know that Yahusha himself is trying to lead you to the Creator. Yahusha is not your God. Yahusha is your King. Yahusha is a God and you are God. Yahusha said in the Bible, are ye not gods? You are God. You're an angel. Yahusha came to wake us up and it tells the truth. And then once we accept and grasp the truth, now we understand that we are all the sons and daughters of the Most High Creator. And now you can have that relationship with the Most High without an intercessor like Yahusha. You still serve Yahusha because Yahusha is the king. But imagine a king on earth, right? Let's say, if you had a king over you right now in the flesh, you know that king isn't God. But you respect the king, yes, because you respect that king's authority. But you know that king isn't God. So you don't worship the king. You serve the king. You don't worship Yahusha, you serve. But now I'm not saying it's bad to worship Yahusha. Because at the end of the day, if there's anybody you're going to worship who was in a flesh shoe, it might as well be Yahusha. But after a while, Yahusha going to tell you, look, when you going to stop worshiping me and learn what I'm trying to tell you, where I'm trying to point you? I'm trying to point you towards the Creator. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Mashiach. Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I deliver them to you. Remember, he's saying remember him, because not necessarily remember him. Okay, basically Paul's saying remember him for the things that he's taught you. Remember him, like he said, for the ordinances, for the laws. He's talking about the laws. Remember my teachings. Remember, if you listen to my teachings on what is the true mark. Remember, Mark, it's all about remembering. It's your mind, what's in your mind. And I was saying, what is the point of these holy days? It's to remind you of what? Remind you of the Most High. And the Most High gave you what? The laws of how you carry yourself. Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things and keep the ordinances as I deliver them to you. But I will have you know that the head of every man is Mashiach. Remember, your head is Mashiach. Like I was just saying, your head is not Paul. Your head is supposed to be Mashiach, which is Christ. But Christ, remember we've gone over what is the Christos, family. The Christ is your spirit, it's your soul. And what is the and forgive me. And what did I tell y'all before, family? What is your soul? Where does your soul come from? It comes from the Most High Creator. And the Most High Creator is what? Most High Creator is spirit. Everything comes from the spirit. So when it's saying, remember, Mashiach means Christ. Christ is the Messiah. Messiah is the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. And the Spirit is who? The Most High. So even in his wording, understand that Mashiach, because remember his name was Yahushua was Yahushua. That's his name. Hamashiach is just a title. Or another word for his spirit. But the spirit comes from where? The Most High. We all come from the Most High. Remember, your flesh comes from your mother and father. So you are your mother and father in the flesh. Your spirit comes from the Most High. You are an extension of the Most High, so your spirit is the Most High. So the Mashiach, the Christos in you, ye are gods, ye are angels, right? That the head of every man is Mashiach. So the head of you is your spirit, your higher self, which comes from the Most High Creator. You only follow Yahusha until you understand what Yahusha's saying, and Yahusha leads you to the Most High. I hope y'all understand what I'm trying to tell you right now. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Mashiach. But if you don't understand what I'm saying, yes, Yahusha is the Messiah and is your head. Yahusha should be your head. At the end of the day, what I'm saying, at the end of the day, can't go wrong with Yahushua. But for those who have a higher understanding, understand what I'm saying, and know who you are, Mashiach is another word for your spirit. The Messiah is the Holy Spirit. And the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Mashiach is Yahuwah. Yahuwah being the Most High Creator. But although it makes a differentiation between Mashiach, the Messiah is still the Creator. You remember, that's just the title, but it's a title given by the Most High. It's a title for the soul, the spirit, the Christos. Remember, Mashiach is another word for Christ. Christ is another word for Messiah, but Messiah is another word. Remember, Christ. It's at the end of the day, it's spirit, the Christos, who you are spiritually. So the spirit is the head of you. The spirit of the Most High is Yahuwah. Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonors his head. Remember, like I said, having your head covered doesn't mean is, like I was saying, on surface level, yes, he's talking about the yarmulkes, talking about the traditions. But spiritually, he's speaking about having another man over you as your God. Like, for instance, people going around believing in the Pope and stuff and worshiping the Pope like he's God. So I hope y'all understood that, family. Remember, Mashiach, Christ, Christos is another name for the soul, for the spirit. The Messiah. The Messiah is your spirit. The Holy Spirit. Come from who? The Most High. Everything is from the Most High. We're in the mind of the Most High. So please don't get confused. Not every woman who prays or prophesies with an uncovered head disgraces the head itself. Remember, we said being uncovered, and as I read to you, okay, actually we didn't even get that far yet, did we? Hold on. Let me read. Okay, but anyway, we'll get to it. Not every woman who prays or prophesies with an uncovered head disgraces the head itself. A woman with her head being uncovered, that's another way of saying a woman who's unmarried. Just like I told y'all before. A woman who is not attached. It doesn't, on the top, I said, okay, on a physical level, it means a woman who's unmarried, but it also does mean a woman back in the day who didn't have a veil over her head. But in this case, on a spiritual level, it's a woman who's not married. So like I said, there's that surface meaning and then beneath. So I'm giving y'all. So not every woman who prays or prophesies with an uncovered head disgraces the head itself. In other words, disgraces Yahuwah or Yahusha or the congregation. But it is or her husband, disgraces her husband. But it is a disgrace for those who are shaven. For if the woman is sheared. So when it says, but it is a disgrace for those who are shaven. In other words, those who don't believe in Yahushua, those who aren't following the commandments, those who are out here, those who were prostitutes, those who are just adulterous women doing what they shouldn't be doing. But it is a disgrace for those who are shaven. Not in that, and like I said, yes, on a physical note, yes, they're talking about the women whose heads are shaved. Because back then, a woman with a shaved head was considered a prostitute. But on a spiritual tip, they're talking about being shaven spiritually. Like I said, not paying no attention to the Most High or the laws or Yahusha out here running them up. For if the woman is sheared, yet wholly covered, because now, once again, what did I just say? Back in the day, a shaven woman was considered a prostitute. But now it's saying, for if the woman is sheared, yet wholly covered. In other words, physically, even if her head is shaven, right? Or even if she has long hair and her head isn't covered. If she's still following the Most High and following the statutes and commandments and carrying herself like a righteous woman, such women are not obscene. Remember, she not carrying herself lustfully. She's not out here dressed all crazy with her booty cheeks hanging out. When wholly covered. So, just want to put that out there. So, spiritually speaking, Paul is saying that it is not disgraceful to the Most High Creator or Yahushua for a single woman to pray or prophesy as long as she is yet wholly covered, aka a believer in Yahushua and follower of the Most High Creator. That is not obscene, aka out in these streets, sleeping around, willfully breaking the commandments, dressing or acting inappropriately, lusting after single and married men. Verse 5, but it is a disgrace for those who are shaven. Once again, referring to inappropriate lustful women sleeping around non-believers. Okay. Hold on, let me make sure. Okay, yeah, I'm all over the place, family, my bad. I kind of messed up a little bit on my, okay, oh yeah, okay, so now, let me go here, and I want to show y'all some, I want to show y'all some receipts. Dang it, still messing up on this mug, man. Or am I? No, I'm not. I'm just confusing myself because how I did it. Okay. Anyway, let me just read this. Okay. It was customary for most women in the ancient Near East, Mesopotamia, and the Greco-Roman world to cover their hair when they went outside the home. In biblical times, women covered their heads with veils or scarves. The unveiling of a woman's hair was considered a humiliation and punishment. On the loosening of the hair of women suspected of adultery. 3rd Maccabees. In Talmudic times, 2 married women were enjoined to cover their hair in communal spaces. In a society so highly conscious of sexuality and its dangers, veiling was considered an absolute necessity to maintain modesty and chastity. If a woman walked bareheaded in the streets, her husband could divorce her without repaying her dowry. Some rabbis compared the exposure of a married woman's hair to the exposure of her private parts, and forbade the recitation of any blessing in the presence of a bareheaded woman. The rabbis praised pious women such as Kimhet, the mother of several high priests, who took care not to uncover their hair, even in the house. Nevertheless, covering the head was a personal imposition and restriction from which men were glad to be exempt. According to Sota 3:8, men differ from women in that they may appear in public with hair unbound and in torn garments. One of the disadvantages or curses that is cited as an inevitable part of being female includes being wrapped up like a mourner. Some Agadic sources interpret this custom as a sign of woman's shame and feeling of guilt for Eve's sin. Girls did not have to cover their hair until the wedding ceremony. It gradually became the accepted traditional custom for all Jewish women to cover their hair. In the early modern period, the practice of a woman shaving off all her hair upon marriage and covering her head with a kerchief became widespread in Hungarian, Galician, and Ukrainian Jewish communities. Justification for this stringency were to ensure that a married woman's hair would never be exposed and to eliminate the possibility of a woman's hair rising to the surface during her ritual immersion in the mikvah, rendering it invalid. Opponents argued that shaving the head would make a woman unattractive to her husband. Toward the end of the 18th century, some circles of women began to wear a wig. This innovation was opposed by certain Orthodox authorities such as Moses, but continued to be widely practiced in early 21st century. A diverse range of customs connected with hair covering are followed by Orthodox Jewish women. Among some modern Orthodox women, there has been renewed interest in various modes of covering the hair after marriage. Many women, family, who are not Orthodox continue the custom of covering their hair in synagogues. Alright. And let me go back up to the Pics. Let me see. I got myself all mixed up. Let me go back and read this one more because I got it saying read pick files. Okay, let me read this one more time, family. Spiritually speaking, Paul is saying that it is not disgraceful to the Most High Creator or Yahushua for a single woman to pray or prophesy, as long as she is yet wholly covered, aka a believer in Yahushua, and follow the Most High Creator. That is not obscene, aka out in these streets, sleeping around, willfully breaking the commandments, dressing or acting inappropriate, lusting after single and married men. Verse 5, but it is a disgrace for those who are shaven. Once again, referring to inappropriate, lustful women sleeping around non-believers. Like I said, I got it. My bad, family. But let's go ahead and go to, hold on, where am I at? Okay, bet. So let's go ahead and move on. Finally, because I am, like I said, I'm all over the place. So now 6. Okay. Follow me on this one, family. Woo. Okay. 6 through 7. Okay. Got you. 6. Alright. 6 through 7. Okay. Hold on. My bad. Give me a second. Get off my back. Hold on. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Slide 6. Okay. Let me make sure. Okay. I'm in the right place. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of Elohim. But the woman is the glory of man. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. For this cause ought the woman to have power over her head, because of the angels. Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in Yahuwah. For as the woman is of the man, even so is the man also by the woman, but all things of Yahuwah. Let me read this again. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of Elohim. But the woman is the glory of the man. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. For this cause ought the woman to have power over her head, because of the angels. Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in Yahuwah. For as the woman is of the man, even so is the man also by the woman, but all things of Yahuwah. All right. So let me start. Okay, but before I read my notes that I wrote for this, let me give you my little my off the cuff. So for a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of Elohim. Remember, a man, in other words, remember I was telling you earlier how it's speaking about a man not putting a cover over his head. In the physical sense, they talking about the hats and in the traditions, like we said earlier, how you couldn't read in the synagogue, read the word if your head wasn't covered. That's just man's tradition. This is saying, once again, this is talking about having an emissary or intercessor in between you and the Most High. You thinking that you can't speak to the Most High yourself. Having someone represent you. Like, remember when Moses and they're at Mount Sinai, right? Remember they didn't want to go up to the Most High because they're too scared. So they said, Moses, you go talk to the Most High for us. This is what it's talking about. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head. Remember, a man is the head, but the Messiah is the head of Yahushua. The man's head is Messiah. So no man should take the place of Messiah. Do not cover Messiah and replace Messiah with an intercessor or emissary or another man of flesh. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and the glory of Elohim. Because you're the glory of the Most High. In other words, like for instance, you know how family, I'll bring it up again. You know how you come from your parents? And your parents, and I would think, especially those who come from two-parent home, I would assume that, and especially now if you're older and you have kids yourself and married, you know that your kids, in a way, are your pride. You love your kids. Those are your children. Your children are an image of you. They're your glory. That's what it's saying. And this goes back to the term, as above, so below. What happens in the spiritual realm in the kingdom also happens here. How it runs in the kingdom is how it runs here. So in the flesh, just as your children are your glory, and that even goes back to Matthew, New Testament. Remember it was saying that how you heathen parents or you sinful people, how even you shower your children with gifts. And then it goes on to say, how much more do you think I will shower gifts upon you as God? As above, so below. So how things work in the spiritual realm is how things work in the physical. So for a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he's the image and glory. In other words, your daddy or your mother, however you want to look at the Most High Creator, but Most High Creator isn't man or woman. But however you want to put it, your parent, the Creator, who is your true parent, you shouldn't put nobody between you and the Creator. Because you are the glory of the Creator. The Creator created you. You came from the Creator. But the woman is the glory of the man. This goes back to Adam and Eve in the garden. The woman coming from the rib. The woman being the helpmate. But the woman is the glory of the man. And this also speaks upon how men love women. This speaks about the power that women have over men. And that goes back to the power that women have. The power that women have on their heads. Because of the angels. And that goes back to, once again, Satan seducing Eve, or the Bible talking about the angels, the sons of God, saw the daughters of men and thought they were beautiful and took them to be wives. You are angels, family. He's talking about you. This is, once again, what's talking about. For as he is but the woman is the glory of man. Men glorify women. We worship women. You can't tell me. That's a lot of our problems, because men is out here sleeping around. Because women have this effect on us. But the woman is the glory of man. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Going back to Adam and Eve. So we are responsible for the woman. Because if we are the head of the woman, we're responsible taking care of her as Yahusha takes care of us. It's like in the military. Anybody been in the military, any past vets, you understand, you know what I'm saying? What do we say? SHIT rolls downhill, right? So basically we're saying, as the Most High takes care of us, or as Yahusha takes care of us by getting messages from the Most High to give down to us, as Yahusha takes care of the man is supposed to take care of the wife. It rolls downhill, right? For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. It's saying that the woman, once again, the helpmeet, going back to the Adam and Eve. So because the woman is the helpmeet, it is up for the man to take care of her, because she is his responsibility. For this cause, which means he's supposed to watch out for her. He's supposed to look out. Remember what happened in the garden happened with Eve because Adam wasn't doing his job. He wasn't watching Eve, taking care of Eve. So Lucifer was able to get to Eve because Adam wasn't doing what he's supposed to do. Although they put all the blame on Eve, the blame is on Adam too, because honestly at the time Adam was like a child. He didn't really know no better. It's not an excuse. Just like Eve don't get excuse. But I'm explaining to y'all the situation. Adam was supposed to be the head, and he didn't do his job as the head, so he let another man come in and take his woman. That says a lot about life and what's going on today, and men not taking care of their responsibilities. Dang, this is hey, this is hitting me too. Hey, let's go. For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head because of the angels. Because the angels, aka the angels, are men. Ye are gods. They talking about you, talking about the men. Not talking about literal angels. Not talking about the angels. I mean, it could be back in the day too. Look, I don't know exactly how they did it. But I know that we are spiritual beings, family. Once you leave this avatar and you're back in your spirit form, you are an angel. So they talking about you. The woman to have power on her head, in other words, the beauty, her hair, that's her beauty. Well, not even just her hair, but just all of her is beautiful. And because she's so beautiful, what the angels want her. The power on her head because of the angels. That's why I was saying Adam didn't take it. He should have been watching her because them other fools around was watching. They wanted to get it. They wanted to get them cheeks. There you go. And guess what? They got them cheeks. She gave them up too. Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in Yahuwah. Okay, nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in Yahuwah. In other words, we need each other. We're two of a kind. The man can't survive without the woman can't survive without the man. But the woman, neither the woman without the man in Yahuwah. But the woman can't be the woman that she needs to be if it's not a man who's led by Yahuwah. So, once again, today, all the issues that you see going on with relationships is because you have a bunch of women going after men who don't believe in the Most High, who don't follow the laws of the Most High, who aren't seeking the Most High, who don't, you going after men, like Paul said. The head of the man is Mashiach, the Holy Spirit, the Most High Creator, or Yahushua. If you don't understand what I'm saying, like I said, once again, I'm never putting away Yahushua. Yahushua is my king. So at the end of the day, like I say, if you don't understand what I'm saying, yes, Yahushua. You cannot fail. Without fail, look, if you don't understand what I'm saying, Yahushua. Hold on to Yahushua. So you got women out here seeking men who don't have no understanding of the word, who not even trying to get no understanding, who aren't seeking. They just out here, you got women out here getting with these so-called bad boys, men who just trying to be in the streets, men who just out here, trying to live that life. The Lucifers of the world. Once again, falling every day. You got Adam and Eve falling every day because men aren't out here doing their part, doing what they supposed to do, seeking the Most High. Now, I know, look, as a man, every situation ain't that simple, especially we got a lot of men out here being raised by single mothers and things. Look, it's real complicated. Look, man, we done failed so far. It is not even funny no more, man. So everybody got a valid excuse. It is what it is. Only the Most High can save us at this point. But we have to do our part by seeking the Most High. And sometimes women, sorry, that man who, if you really want a husband to go take care of you, so a man with money and a degree is not a good man. People always say, oh, a good man, because he got money. That's not a good man. Just because he have that don't mean that he is a God-fearing, decent man. Because y'all could be married for years and he been cheating, or leave y'all, or vice versa. You leave him, whatever. Because you're not in a household where Yahusha is the head. Or Yahuwah. So neither the woman without the man in Yahuwah. In other words, a man who is serving the Most High. For as the woman is of the man, even so is the man also by the woman, but all things of Yahuwah. Both y'all need to be in the word. In other words, both y'all need to be following the Most High and Yahusha. Both y'all need to be following the laws. So I hope I explained that. I hope I broke that down enough and gave y'all a picture of what's up with the world today and what's going on. So, but anyway, let me get back. And so I just want to give y'all a quick overview of my thoughts before I go back, before I read my my notes on this. I just want to do a quick, anyway. Here I go. Let's go. Let's do this. Okay. Verse 7, once again, speaking about how a man should not place another man of the flesh above him, acting as his idol or God or emissary between him and the Most High Creator, like the Pope. For the Most High created you, so you are the Most High's pride and joy. Like your own, let me read it again. Verse 7. Once again, speaking about how a man should not place another man of the flesh above him, acting as his idol or God or emissary between him and the Most High Creator, like the Pope. For the Most High created you, so you are the Most High's pride and joy. Like your own earthly fleshly parents. Parents, do they not take pride and joy in you, their child? How would they feel, or you, if all of a sudden a stranger came in between you both, and you could not speak unless this stranger was always there to relay your message for you, and possibly misinterpreting your message as a result? As the saying goes, as above, so below. I would also add that verse 7 refers to presenting yourself before the Most High as you truly are, how the Most High made you, not laden down with the traditions of man and organized religion. Now, in continuing with verse 7, as it states, but the woman is the glory of the man, and including verses 8 and 12 combined, in order to understand this part of the verse, you must go all the way back to the Garden of Eden, to the fall of man, where Adam, the first man, fell because of his desire for a woman, Eve, who fell under the influence of a bad boy, aka Lucifer, which in turn caused Adam to turn his back on the ways of the Most High because of his desire to go along with his wife and please her and her will. But it was supposed to be her following Adam's lead as he followed the will of the Most High. Verse 11 states, neither the woman without the man in Yahuwah. Verse 11 states, neither the woman without the man in Yahuwah. Like I was saying, let me go back. Adam, but it was supposed to be her following Adam's lead as he followed the will of the Most High. As verse 11 states, neither the woman without the man in Yahuwah. Just reiterating. Or verse 3 states again that the head of every man is Mashiach. And because the head of every man is Mashiach, it is his duty to do for his wife. Remember, another word for Mashiach is Messiah or Christ. Talking about Yahusha, but remember the Christ, the Christos, is you, is your is the Spirit, Holy Spirit within you. It's your soul, which comes from who? The Most High. Your soul is an extension of the great oversoul, the Most High soul, the Creator soul. It is his duty. So that's how the Most High communicates with you within yourself. That's why it says the kingdom of heaven is within, go within, because your soul is literally you. The actual you, your soul, is literally an extension of the Most High Creator. You are one. That's how the Most High speaks to you, through your soul. That's why you have to learn to quiet yourself. That's why people talk about meditation, so you can hear the Spirit, so you no longer need a fleshly intercessor before you to tell you what the Most High says. You can hear the Most High's message yourself by going within. Okay, and because the head of every man is Mashiach, it is his duty to do what for his wife? For this, okay, let me go back. Or verse 3 states again that the head of every man is Mashiach. And because the head of every man is Mashiach, it is his duty to do what for his wife? For this we refer to Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25 through 27. All right, now hold on. Now we're going to switch. I'm going to bring it up on the screen. Ephesians. Okay, Ephesians chapter 5, verses 25 to 27. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church, and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of the water by the word, that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. Let me read it again. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church, and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. This is why the Mashiach or Yahusha or Yahuwah is supposed to be the head of the man. It's supposed to be, or if you want to do it like how Paul said, Yahusha is the head. Yahusha is the head of the man, and the man is the head of the woman. And as the woman follows the man, because the man is following Yahusha, who is, and if the man is following Yahusha, the man is living as Yahushua and walking Yahusha's shoes and doing as Yahusha did. In other words, if he's like Yahusha, then what is he doing? He's washing his wife with the word, taking care of her, doing what he needs to do to support his family. Anyway, I'm getting all tongue-tied. You get what I'm saying? I'm explaining it. Dang it. Excuse me, family. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay. Here we go now. Alright, so. Okay, no. Let me go back to. Okay. Verse 10 states, for this cause ought the woman have power on her head because of the angels. For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head because of the angels. The power on the woman's head is representation of her beauty. The beauty of a woman being what most men, aka angels, in fleshly form desire. So the enemy Satan uses this weakness of men to their advantage. In other words, if you control the woman, men's desire, and glory, you will control the man, causing the man to do and act in ways not contrary to the Most High's word in order to obtain the woman and keep her. For example, a lot of today's modern men in the West want to be famous and thugs because they've been taught that this is how you get a woman, because this is what they want in a man. Hold on, give me a second. Just making sure. I don't want to lose my man. Okay, got it. Okay. Verse 11 states, again, nevertheless, is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in Yahuwah, which I now refer to Genesis chapter 3, verse 16. Then he said to the woman, you will bear children with intense pain and suffering. And though your desire will be for your husband, he will be your master. AKA, although the woman desires are to have a man desires shall no longer be for a woman, but a man's desire shall be to serve the Most High Creator by following the example of Mashiach. So he does not make the same mistake as Adam. But don't forget that Yahusha will tell the man to provide for his woman and family by the sweat of his brow. Everything comes full circle. Let me read that again. Genesis chapter 3, verse 16. Then he said to the woman, you will bear children with intense pain and suffering. And though your desire will be for your husband, he will be your master. AKA, although the woman desires are to have a man's desires shall no longer be for a woman, but a man's desire shall be to serve the Most High Creator by following the example of Mashiach. So he does not make the same mistake as Adam. But don't forget that Yahusha will tell the man to provide for his woman and family by the sweat of his brow. Everything comes full circle. So in other words, when Adam was still acting like a little boy, before his balls dropped, he was running around these streets, smacking them cheeks. You know what I'm saying? He was getting it in with Eve, doing whatever she wanted. He was like, look, I ain't trying to listen to Pops right now. And then guess what he did? He ate that apple, they fell. He's fighting. It was him fighting. He was struggling between her and another man. They, like today, just all these issues, right? Until he was like, you know what? When my desires for her, things don't go right. My life goes to hell. So now, when he became a man, he said, nah, as a man, I got to follow Yahusha now. I got to follow the Messiah. I got to follow the Most High. That's how I get my life straight. That's how things work out. Because when my desire was her, and I was ignoring the Most High, where we end up? We ended out here in the street. Without with only the shirt on our backs. Got kicked out of our house. Couldn't pay the bills no more. But he followed the Most High, and they got back on their feet, and, they did better. So that's just a better way of breaking it down. I hope y'all understand that. Now he realized he had to work to support his family, and now his focus isn't just on the woman on the poontang, on the punani, or whatever you want to call it. His focus is now on the Most High. There you go. So anyway, hold on, let me make. Okay, gotcha. Make sure I'm at. All right. Okay. On to the next. Okay. By the woman. Okay. But all things. Okay, I read it. Judge in yourselves. Is it comely that a woman pray unto Yahuwah uncovered? Does not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him? But if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her, for her hair is given her for a covering. All right, now let me go through and do my thing. Judge in yourselves. Is it comely that a woman pray unto Yahuwah uncovered? Remember, you got to look at this at the sentence and the words that are used. Judge in yourselves. Is it comely that a woman pray unto Yahuwah uncovered? Comely, family. That's another word for attractive. Is it attractive? Matter of fact, while we here, Let me go ahead. Let me do it early. Let me go ahead and show you the next slide that I was supposed to come up. Not supposed to be yet, but you know. I'll just go ahead and bring it up now. Comely, right? Pleasant to look at, attractive, agreeable, suitable. Keep that in mind too, agreeable. But mostly attractive, good looking, nice looking, beautiful, pretty, handsome, lovely, stunning, striking, gorgeous, prepossessed, okay, winning, fetishing, captivating, bewitching, beguiling, irresistible, sexy, sexual, seductive. All these good things, right? All that good stuff, right? Okay. So let's go back. So, judging yourselves, is it comely that a woman pray unto Yahuwah uncovered? Is it, once again, I take you back to the image in the church, right? The women coming in the church dressed like they going to the club. And they do altar call. She walking up there in them tight dresses, look like she about to bust out it, or she just sitting there, you know, with her Bible, or she standing up clapping her hands, doing praise and worship, and all them curvy. Hell yeah, they look good. And especially, and remember, what does it say? Uncovered, right? Especially if you know she's single. But even the ones who you know are married, but they still in there, and their husbands, remember, not acting like Adam. Not saying that while they wives in there and dressed like they going to the club. And I guarantee you, cause look, I did it. A lot of us do. We both sitting there with the men sitting there like, dang, Sister Jenkins, hey, she in there looking good today, boy. Woo, she look good, boy. Forgive me, more, but dang, she looked good, boy. Ooh, you know what I'm saying? Come on, family. So, judging yourselves, is it comedy? Is it hell yeah? These bras in here looking good, boy. Anyway, that's my bad. Yes, they in here looking good and all sexy, and they know what they doing. And what do? They distracting us from listening to the word. They distracting us from learning because they ain't here looking all delicious and stuff. That's what he said. Is it comely that a woman praying to Yahuwah uncovered? I mean, yeah. Should she look? Yes, it shouldn't be. Well, I mean, I'm not saying it shouldn't be, but yes. Uncovered, remember, uncovered, I mean, on one end, yes, it means physically uncovered, not having a veil. But then in the other part, uncovered, could also be unmarried. Once again, being a single woman, yes. Single women are attractive, more unattractive than women who, are married. I mean, just because a woman married don't mean she unattractive. Now, that's not me saying don't go out, stay away from married women, men. I'm just trying to explain to y'all what this is talking about, okay? Does not even nature itself teach you that, okay, so anyway, judging yourselves, is it comely that a woman pray unto Yahuwah uncovered? We hit that. Does not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him? Honestly, family, that's a straight up opinion. But also right here, this is talking about. Remember, it's saying that long hair is for a woman to attract a man. So this has honestly got kind of low-key vibes of saying a man getting into homosexuality. Also talking about a man might be, but it's also another way of saying that a man with long hair, like for instance, you see how my hair is down right now, right? Look, I'm a handsome man. I'm a beautiful man, right? Now, if I'm up in front of the crowd ministering, people might be looking like, man, that he sure is a pretty old Negro. And so instead of them listening to the message that I'm trying to get out, they sitting there looking at my hair, and they might be thinking like, man, this old pretty boy, or they might be like, man, he need to put his, you know what I'm saying? This is why the priests, even though the priests didn't cut their hair long, they used to put them in turbans. So it is not saying that they had to. Because that's not necessarily a requirement, but everything is for a reason, family. It's just we can't turn these things, and we can't sit here and make these things into requisites for us to get into the kingdom. But everything was done for a reason. But anyway, them mentioning, does not even the nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him? First off, nature don't teach you that. He talking about, I'll put it like this. Or he look at it like this. He talking about the nature of a man. Men equate long hair with women. Men equate long. The nature of man is to equate a beautiful woman to have long hair. Not to say a woman can't be beautiful with short hair, but most men prefer women with long hair. The nature of men would prefer a woman with long hair. That's just how it is, right? So does not even nature. So yes, in a way, yes. Doesn't nature itself teach you that a man have long hair, that if a man have long hair is a shame unto? No, nature will teach me that it's a shame. It's just, you more so look, my nature is to more equate long hair on a woman. But at the same time, there is no law, there's nothing in the Bible that says a man can't have long hair, and men have had long hair for years, family, since the beginning of time. Let's use some common sense. In the Garden of Eden, did Adam and Eve have shears or clippers? Hell no. So Adam was walking around with long hair all day, and I guarantee you his sons were too. Because there was no need for clippers. There was no need for shears, because all this garbage that we worry about now, that wasn't an issue. And on top of that, men have beards. That's a distinction. Just because a woman has long hair don't mean that she's not going to grow a beard. Okay, and for all those detractors, well, I know one. Look, it is very rare for there to be a woman with a beard. I ain't seen a woman with a beard in years. As a matter of fact, I think the only time I seen a woman with a beard once, no, I saw one in basic training once, and I seen another one on TV. But other than that, a few chin hairs there, or if you get too close to a woman's face and notice she got a little mustache because she don't like, waxing it. But other than that, and then on top of that, curves, like a woman, bruh. Unless, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't be wrong. I remember when I was living in Korea, when I was in the army, I remember there were every now and then there were times where from far away, well, actually, no. Well, how do I put no? Okay, from far away, okay, actually, no, because they didn't have long hair. But, as a matter of fact, let me not even go there. I didn't do nothing. I ain't saying it. What I'm saying is, have you ever looked at somebody as a man? I'm pretty sure y'all can you ever looked at a woman from far away, and from far away you see like, dang, she look bad, she look good, and then you get up closer, you just kind of like, oh, I mean, you know what, she hot. You get what I'm saying? So I remember in Korea, I just say one time we was doing something, and they're in the Rock Army, they have women too, but they're not everywhere. But this before I knew that, and we were going to a certain place to do a certain mission, and we were dropping off ammo at an ammo depot in Korea, and one of the soldiers, from far away, before I got close, I was thinking in my mind, like, she kind of look, I didn't say nothing, I'm like, she kind of look good. But as I got up closer, I was like, oh snap, it's a dude, because the dude looked like a woman. So I'm kind of equating this to that. So what I'm saying is, no homo, let me say, look, once I got, I'm saying from far away, it looked like it was a woman, okay? So anyway, does not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him? So once again, too, family, remember I read earlier, do not add to or take away the 10 Commandments. This ain't got nothing to do with this saying right now. This has nothing to do with salvation. It has nothing to do with the 10 Commandments, getting into the kingdom, nothing like that. This right here is we're having a conversation. This is pure opinion. In this verse right here that everybody like to that especially Christians like to use to shame men with long hair, you wrong, and you are unstudied yourself. You are very wrong and unstudied. Does not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him? That's your opinion. If you see a man with long hair and it's bothering you, bro, that's on you. Mind your own business. And matter of fact, if you watch my videos and my long hair, bye, you go about your business, bro. Bye. I ain't tripping about you. You can leave. This is strictly opinion. Do not add to or take away. We already been we been through this. This is what we doing. Well, this whole point. Stop adding to it. This is not a law. This is your freaking opinion. Even Paul in this letter right now, this is just his opinion on that specific size society and place at that time. I see plenty of men with long hair. It don't bother me none. I don't think nothing sexual about it. It ain't nothing to it. He's just a man with long hair. Yahushua had long hair. Moses had long hair. Samson had long hair. David had a son with long. And like I said, most men, if they don't cut their hair, guess what? They're going to have long hair. And as Dick Gregory said, and I was going to find that clip, but I was like, I'm not about to watch this whole 2.5 hour interview just to find that few seconds where he just said, this is what Dick Gregory said. He stopped cutting his hair because one day something in him said, why I keep cutting my hair? If the Most High, Dick Gregory said, if the Most High wanted me to cut my hair, then why does it keep growing back? Think about it, family. And I never thought about it. And it hit me so profound the moment. I was like, he got a good point. If the Most High didn't want me to cut my hair, then why does it not grow back? And then men wonder why, as they get older, when they're younger, they always cut their hair off, right? They always messing their hair up. They don't take care of it, cutting it off, shaving. And then when they get older, they start balding and what? And then they start messing their hair. Oh, I wish my hair grew, this and that. But you didn't appreciate it when you had it. A lot of times, family, I do believe as men get older, a punishment for the Most High for them not having is because they cut their hair off. Going all the way back to Samson. You didn't appreciate your hair all your life. You didn't care about it. You kept saying it was gay for a man to have this and judging. And then now all of a sudden, now you start balding and losing your hair. And now you wish you had hair, right? Nope, too late. You ain't got your hair no more. You keep shaving every day. You keep cutting it off and saying it's ugly. You don't want it. Nah, you can't have it. Understand, family, the Most High, stuff that you don't appreciate, as they say, you don't really know how good you had it, or you don't miss something until it's gone and you don't have it no more. And men just in this world, they don't appreciate or love to hear until it stopped growing, until they don't have it no more. Is it commonly that a woman praying to Yahuwah uncovered? Does not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him? But if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her, for her hair is given to her for a covering. Remember, for her hair is given to her for a covering. Not like a literal covering, family. Covering, remember we talking about what is an uncovered woman? It means she's not married. So her covering means she's married. For her hair is given her for a covering. In other words, family, remember what it was saying? What did it say? Is it commonly that a woman praying to you? Okay. In other words, remember it's saying that a woman's hair is her beauty, as we was reading earlier. Hold on, let me go back. The woman had power on her head because of, hold on. But the woman for the man for the cause hold on. Where is that? Hold on. Anyway, family, so what it's saying here, hold on. For her hair is given her for a covering. Because it's talking about the beauty of her hair, family. Men think women with long hair are beautiful. Oh, is it commonly that a woman praying to Yahuwah covered? Does not even nature itself teach you that a man have long hair is a shame unto him? Is it commonly that a woman pray? Remember, commonly means beauty, right? And then it's talking about praying to Yahuwah covered. Like I said, there's the physical part. It's talking about her being covered without a veil, short of hair. Remember we read that a woman's hair is almost like her private parts, right? But also it's talking about unmarried. It said two sides to this sword. Remember it said that the word of the Most High is like a sword with two-edged sword. Remember there's two sides. There's the meaning, surface level meaning, and the meaning under the surface, right? But if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her, for her hair is given her for a covering. Family is talking about the beauty, like it's saying, does not even the nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him? And remember I said, family, the nature of a man is to equate long hair to a woman in her beauty and attracts her. So, for her hair is given to her for a covering. So what it's saying is, a woman's hair attracts a husband who becomes her covering. Remember, family, I explained to you, an uncovered woman is another word for a woman who isn't married. But when she gets married, she is what? She's covered by the man who follows Yahusha, because the head of the man is Yahusha the Messiah, because the head of the man is the Messiah, and the Messiah follows who? Yahuwah. Right? So, goes downhill. That's what it's saying. For her hair is given her for a covering. It is a glory to, but if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her. For her hair is given her for a covering. In other words, her hair attracts a husband. And hopefully he's a righteous man. Because your hair can also attract a man who ain't about nothing either. Anyway. But let me go ahead and start reading. Hold on. Yeah, okay. Now let me, I've been on this a minute. So let me go ahead and start reading my synopsis for this. My personal synopsis or my side notes. Okay, so verse 13 states, oh, and family, I hope y'all, stay to the end, especially for when I read in the sealed portion, because I got some good points in the sealed portion to read to y'all, about this hair thing. So I hope there's some good, interesting. I want to read to y'all what the sealed portion says about hair, family. Verse 13 states, is it comely that a woman pray unto Yahuwah uncovered? Comely being another word for, okay, verse 13 states, is it comely that a woman pray unto Yahuwah uncovered? Comely being another word for attractive. And we've already established that uncovered means unmarried, single woman, or a woman in sin not living righteously by following the commandments. The question being posed here once again is if it is proper for a woman to praise and prophesy before the congregation if she is unmarried and or without a literal head covering because of her creator given beauty that naturally attracts and distracts men from the message being put forth to the congregation, especially if she is single and beautiful, because men will be more worried about getting her than the message. Let me read that again. The question being posed here once again is if it is proper for a woman to praise and prophesy before the congregation if she is unmarried and or without a literal head covering because of her creator given beauty that is naturally that hold on, my bad. When you can't read your own handwriting. The question being posed here once again is if it is proper for a woman to praise and prophesy before the congregation if she is unmarried and or without a literal head covering because of her creator given beauty that naturally attracts and distracts men from the message being put forth to the congregation, especially if she is single and beautiful, because men will be more worried about getting her than the message. Now, and I want to say this to my sisters. For my sisters to be like, oh, well, the man need to just have some discipline inside. They shouldn't be worried about what look, this is true. But at the same time, just as the men should be held accountable for their actions, ladies, you should be held accountable too for how you dress. You don't have to come to church or to the assembly or wherever dress like you going to the club, dress like you a hooker. That's on you too. You supposed, especially if you call yourself a righteous woman, a woman of the Most High, you supposed to be disciplined to know how to dress and to know how the way you dress, especially if you a shape you want to be. Look, if you want to do that wherever, matter of fact, I'm not even gonna tell you, because if you're a righteous woman, you shouldn't be doing that no time, especially if you got a husband. I don't care if nobody say, ain't nobody telling you to go around. You got to be all covered up like the women in Iran that have a face veil. It's not even saying, but it's like common sense of everything. Like y'all always jump to, oh, you want me to dress like a nun? Ain't nobody saying that. I'm telling you, you don't need to be walking out here in no booty cheeks, which literally your cheek hanging out, and I can almost see your vagina because your pants are so high up. That's what I'm talking about. And you married? Get up out my face, man. Anyway, let me stop. I don't need okay. But anyway, let me go back once again. Remember, calmly, pleasant, attractive. The word calmly. Remember that? Okay. Remember we went over there, tantalizing, ravishing. What is it? Erotic, arousing. Look at that. Luscious, lush. You know what I'm saying? Tasty, hot. Ooh. Knockout. Drop dead gorgeous. Out of this world. Easy and out. Come on, family. All these words. Come on now. Y'all know what you doing out here looking all good and delicious. Look Forgive me, Moses. Anyway, I'm kidding. Look, as where man shouldn't be lusting, should cut off his own arm. Look, I'm being funny, family. I ain't out here tripping like that. I mean, I am a man, but don't get me wrong. Look, I'm actually very disciplined now when it comes. Anyway, let's get back to. I ain't out here sleeping around. I would say that. I think it's been about 7 years now since I done got me some nookie. Look, and I'm not mad about it. Look, the Most High told me one day, and I think I told him, he said, Negro, if you don't stop, you're going to, even though I don't believe in hell no more, but at the time, because of my thought of believing it, look, at the end of the day, regardless of me not believing in hell, I believe in hell now. But regardless of my beliefs now, it saved me, and everything happened for a reason. Because if whatever happened to me then didn't happen, I wouldn't be who I am today and have the understanding I have, and I wouldn't took that time. I wouldn't have let these young Eves, before Eve became a righteous woman, be distracting me from what I'm doing now. So anyway, me being in my ignorance in my youth. Okay, so verse 14. Okay, let me go back to my synopsis again. To my to my personal notes. Verse 14 stating, does not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him? Then verse 15 states, for her hair, verse 14 stating, does not even nature, excuse me family, let me start again. Verse 14 stating, does not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him? Then verse 15 states, for her hair is given her for a covering. In other words, woman's hair is a part of what gives her beauty and what attracts a potential husband to her, aka covering. So what use is it for a man to have long hair if he's not trying to attract a husband? On the part of Paul, or whoever, if not Paul, made this statement, rather it be by misinterpretation or purposeful intent to deceive. Remember, I was reading earlier, family, and they were talking about when they was going through the letters and they found out that some of them were fake. So at the end of the day, this is why we rely on the Most High in the Spirit. And we understand when you look at the 10 Commandments, then you apply the 10 Commandments to everything, and you be like, okay, does this align with the 10 Commandments? Anyway, this statement is pure okay, hold on, let me go back where I was. On the part of Paul, or whoever, if not Paul, made this statement, rather it be by misinterpretation or purposeful intent to deceive. This statement is pure speculation and assumption of one's intentions towards another, as well as simply one man's opinion, if not one society's personal traditions. If not one... Okay, let me read that again. On the part of Paul, or whoever, if not Paul, made this statement, rather it be misinterpretation or purposeful intent to deceive. This statement is pure speculation and assumption of one's intentions towards another, as well as simply one man's opinion, if not one society's personal traditions. This statement is not at all in alignment with the Most High Creator's laws, statutes, and commandments. A man's long hair has no bearing on his salvation, nor does it mean he has homosexual intentions. I myself question if the push to convince men to cut their hair off is not but just another plan or trick of the enemy to take the power or throne from the true children of the Most High Creator, further putting them in bondage and servitude to a beast system run by the fleshly desires of men and not the word of the Most High Creator. Why is it that when a certain tribe of people's hair grows, it grows in a upward motion as if it's reaching for the sky like an antenna to receive messages from home, the stars where their soul came from? I also question if the Creator did not want men to have hair on their heads, then why do we have it? Why did the Creator not tell Adam, Moses, or Yahusha to tell the people to cut their hair? Why was this not a problem until Paul mentions it? When Adam was alive, Did the Most High give him scissors or clippers to cut his hair? Where in the 10 Commandments or Moses' regulations on how to run a nation did it say that men should and have to cut their hair? Because it is an abomination to have the very hair that the Most High gave them. Turn to... Oh, my bad. Okay, so anyway, but yeah, okay, hold on, so also another thing, family, I also firmly believe that, because remember, go back to Samson, right? I think it even talks about Samuel having long hair. I truly believe, family, matter of fact, I know, this is like, look, my hair is, because it's locked right now, it's not sticking up, it's tamed, because it's locked. But I know my wisdom, my DNA is literally in my hair. It's coming from my mind. My history's in this. My memories, family, my power. And if I cut it off, it's like throwing away my memories, throwing away my energy. Alright, so there's a reason why everything happens, family. Think about it, family. Like, why is it that the only people's hair, and look, and to all my star seeds, look, the Most High, look, those who truly have a spirit for the Most High, my star seeds, you know who you are. Look, we know it's not a color thing. And like I've said, the Most High's people's spirits are in so-called Caucasian, Hispanic, Asian people too. Not everybody has a soul. And not all kinfolk, not all skin folk or kinfolk. Not all people of color are the children of the Most High too. So let's get that straight. But, once again, isn't it funny, for those who believe that we are not those children, but isn't it funny that the one people whose hair is always trying to get cut off or said that it's not right? And I'm not talking about them wild hairstyles, and I'm not talking about all them wigs and hair extensions, but when your hair is natural, isn't it funny that it's like the only people whose hair is messed with or said that it needs to be cut off or that it's not neat is people of color, who when our hair grows, it grows up to where the sky. A sign pointing to who we are. Ain't that something? And as it was talking about earlier in Egypt and Babylon, what did they used to do? Remember, the Most High, the Creator, freed us from Egypt and Babylon. But specifically, he was talking about Egypt. What did they used to do? They used to cut their hair off, right? And then do what? Put on wigs on that. Something like today, our women's hair falling out. And they got all this weave and stuff. And alopecia got all these issues. And they keep putting wigs and stuff on. Now you got men putting on wigs and toupees. Because why? You always cutting your hair off. Why? Because somebody told you? Because the B system? That's what I always talk about. It's crazy how you talk about people be pro so-called black. First off, I'm brown. Ain't no such thing as a black skinned person, brown skinned person. Always go around talking about so-called black power and this and love yourself and so-called black is beautiful. But you keep putting all these colors and wigs and cutting your hair off and stuff. What's wrong with you and who you are? Why you keep letting them make you cut your power off? Why you keep falling for the beast systems, the beast systems traps? Just saying, family. Just putting it out there. Right? Stop falling for the okie doke. Stop falling for the hijack. Anyway, where am I at? Because I know the video getting long and it's getting late too, and I want to get to the reading. I want to get to the sealed portion reading because I got some interesting info in the sealed portion I want to read for y'all. Okay. So, hold on. Okay. But if any man seem to be contentious, we have no such custom, neither the called out assemblies of Yahuwah. Remember, let me read it again. But if any man seem to be contentious, we have no such custom, neither the called out assemblies of Yahuwah. Right? Not no custom. This ain't no custom, family. Out here tripping on stuff. Anyway, hold on. Read. Okay, yeah, okay. So, verse 16. Paul himself. Okay, so. But if any man seems to be contentious, we have no such custom, neither the called out assemblies of Yahuwah. Now I'm reading my personal, what I wrote on this. Verse 16. Paul himself gives my beliefs credit by Verse 16. Paul himself gives my beliefs credit by stating, but if any man seem to be contentious, we have no such custom. This is not a custom, family. This is not something that anybody should be pushing on you, telling you to cut your hair off. This is not a custom. This is not part of the 10 Commandments. This is what I showed y'all earlier. Do not add to or take away from. Everything is adding to or everything in the Bible is adding to the 10 Commandments. Period. The 10 Commandments were not written on a book or paper. They were written on 2 tablets. So we have added to that. We have added so much. It's not saying that we cannot use these writings to glean understanding from, but look at the confusion it's caused by adding these things to the 10 Commandments, and now we confused about what is God's law. God's law was simply right there. Part of them being do not steal, kill, murder, and commit adultery, and all these, right? But we keep adding man's tradition to them as if that's what God told us to do, when that is just what man chose to do with the free will that the Creator gave us to do. And we keep making these things in the law, talking about, oh, Moses, there's actually 250 something or whatever law. No, there isn't. There's only 10 laws. Those are just the laws that were used at the time to run the nation of Israel in the land that they had. That was the Constitution. And we cannot take that and say that it's the Most High's laws that you have. You don't have to do nothing. Matter of fact, you don't even have to follow the 10 Commandments if you don't want to. It's all a choice, family. Now, I'm not telling nobody not to, because I'm going to follow them. But once again, remember, the laws and prophets all turn to what the 10 Commandments. My zit seat I wear, I don't even have to wear this. Remember, everything's free will, but I do wear it. I like wearing it. I wear it because it's my choice to wear it. Just like a woman in a veil, it's her choice. But what is the point of wearing a ZC? Why? Because these tassels are supposed to remind you of the 10 Commandments. Everything we do, family, the holidays, everything does what? Remind us of the 10 Commandments. Until we can have it in our hearts, sealed in our hearts. And we also wear this not only for ourselves, but for others. So when others see it, and they might come up to it like the Bible says, when other nations see us and see how blessed us they'll come up and ask us, what God do we serve? Who do we serve? And then that opens up a door for us to minister to them, to tell them about the God we serve, to tell them what these mean, to put the 10 Commandments. Remember, it says at the end of the day, by the time Yahushua, everybody's going to have heard the word. But we got to stop turning traditions into the law. There's only the 10 laws, family. Everything else is just extra. And when you study them, even for the Sabbath, well, yeah, that's part of the, look. But even then, family, look, like I said, we have free will. You don't have to do nothing you don't want to. I'm not telling nobody to follow the commandments. Personally, I believe in commandments. I believe we all should follow the commandments. But I also understand we in the matrix and what world we live in. And I know that everybody not going to choose it. But I don't want to be dishonest with you. We were all born with free will. The Most High wants you to love. The Most High Creator wants you to love the Most High Creator. But the Most High Creator don't want you to do it because you want something or out of fear. The Most High wants you to do everything you do for the Most High because you want to. Just like any regular relationship. You don't want somebody to be with you because they want something from you. Or because they want to use you. You want them to be with you because when they look at you, they truly desire you and want you. As above, so below. It's the same thing. The Most High don't want you because you always want something. The Most High wants you to want the Most High because you want the Most High. I do this and wear this because I choose to wear it. Not because somebody made me to. And then when I wear it, I'm also an example for my Creator, for my father, for my mother, whatever term I want to use in heaven. All right? So, anyway, let's keep going. Where am I at right now? Okay, yeah, here we go. Going to the slideshow present. Okay, that's all of my notes. So now we're going to get in some reading and stuff, family. I know, look, stick with me, family. I got some good information. Slide 18. Okay, so, hold on. Let's compare some different scriptures, right? Okay. Now, I want to compare some different scriptures to y'all real quick, family. Hold on, give Give me a second. Oh, wait. Hold on. I didn't even, I still had it on me. Okay. Let's compare some different scriptures. Yo, what happened? Okay. My bad, family. Okay. Let's compare some different scriptures. Here we go. Okay, family, look. Remember I was telling y'all earlier about how you got to be careful what Bibles you have? Like when I showed you the difference in the NIV and the King James Version. And I told you the older the Bible, the better. This is from the a website for the I don't have a 1611, but this is pulling up the PDF for it on a website. So I'm not going to read the, okay. Be followers of me, even as I also am of Christ. Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God. Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head. But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head, uncovered, dishonoreth her head. For that is even all one, as if she were shaven. Okay, anyway, look. I'm not read all this because I got some other reading to do. We've already read this many times. Let's go down to the bottom. Right here, this is what I want to show you again. This is the 1611. What does verse 16 say? But if, okay, no, let me start at 14. Do not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him. But if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her, for her hair is given her for a covering. But if any man seems to be contentious, we have no such custom, neither the churches of God. And this is the 1611. And this is my NIV. Once again, NIV, New International Version. And we go down to 16. No, let's go right here. Let's start 14. Isn't it obvious that it's disgraceful for a man to have long hair? And isn't it obvious that long hair is a woman's pride and joy? For it has been given to her as a covering. But if anyone wants to argue about this, all I can say is that we have no other custom than this. And all the churches of God feel the same way about it. Really? Do they all feel the same way about it? Because if you go back to the 1611 says we have no such custom. Just saying, family. Once again, this is why you got to do your studying. And this is why, once it said, you shouldn't, this is why when I told you covering means to have a man. This is what happens when you have a man over you and you don't do the studying yourself. Instead of reading line upon line and all that yourself and doing the studying, and you only listen to what your preacher tell you, your preacher, once again, like the blind leading the blind, leads you right to hell. And you wouldn't even know. The King James, the King James says this, that is no custom. A lot of older versions, a lot of older ones say that. I can't remember the names. The KJV, the New King James Version says this is no custom. But the NIV, fam, I'm just saying, you got to be careful, fam. And these aren't the only discrepancies. There's a lot of them. That's why I say, once again, if you have an NIV, make sure you still got a King James Version. And the older, the better. Also, I'm going to read this. The Egyptian, hold on. Show pics. Get off my, okay, yeah, okay. Okay. The Egyptians let the hair of their head and beard grow only when they were mourning, shaving it off at other times. So particular were they on this point that to have neglected it was a subject of reproach and ridicule. And whenever they intended to convey the idea of a man of low condition or a slovenly person, the artist represented him with a beard. Joseph shaved himself before going into Pharaoh. And remember, where did the Most High free us from? From Egypt. And remember, the Egyptians, after the certain Pharaoh died, remember, they didn't like the Hebrews. and they treated them wrong. So, and then remember, there are images, and I have one. Matter of fact, let me pull it up. Images of Hebrews in Egypt. Hold on. Look at this. This is in Egypt. Image of Hebrews with what? Long hair. Look at them locks and beards. All right. The Most High freed us from Egypt, family. What did I say? Why they want us to cut our hair off so bad? Why? The women of Egypt wore their hair long and plaited. Wigs were worn by priests and laymen to cover the shaven skull. By the priests, not the Hebrews or the Israelites. This is talking about the Egyptians. And remember, we left Egypt. And false beards were common. Family, you know what's crazy? What is the point of, if you cut your hair off and you shave it, why you gonna go in there and make a wig or something? You just let your own grow. You talk down on it, but then you go around with a wig and a fake beard for what? Why go through the trouble when you just let your own grow? Come on, family. Wigs were worn by priests and laymen to cover the shaven skull, and false beards were common. The great masses of hair seen in the portraits and statues of kings and priests are thus altogether artificial. A precisely opposite practice as regards men prevailed among the Assyrians. In Assyrian sculptures, the hair always appears long and combed closely down upon the head. The beard also was allowed to grow to its full length. Among the Greeks, the custom in this respect varied at different times, as it did also among the Romans. In the time of the apostle, among the Greeks, the men wore short hair, while that of the women was long. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 14. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 15. Paul reproves the Corinthians for falling in with a style of manners which so far confounded the distinction of the sexes and was hurtful to good morals. Paul reproves the Corinthians. Just saying, family. There's a lot of confusion about people be saying, just trying to point something out. Reprove mean reprimand. In other words, why are you sitting here tripping on these customs of worldly people, of the Greeks and the Romans? What did he say? This is no custom of ours. And then remember, said he reproved them. Just saying. Among the Hebrews, the natural distinction between the sexes was preserved by the women wearing long hair, while the men preserved theirs as a rule at a moderate length by frequent clipping. It says moderate length. It doesn't say they shaved it all off. The word doesn't say that you shouldn't clip your hair, and I'm not telling you can't trim your hair. But it said moderate length. It doesn't give the actual length, and I just showed you a picture. So that don't mean shave it all off, family. Now, if you want to shave it all off, go ahead. This ain't me getting an argument. I'm not about to get in that whole thing. Look, do you. Like I said, we have free will. Do what you want. But stop judging people on how they do their hair. Baldness disqualifies anyone for the priest's office. If hair is so bad, why does baldness disqualify you from the priest's office, huh? Just saying. And that's what will come to later. Once again, stay with me until I read the sealed portion, family. Elijah is called a hairy man from his flowing locks, or more probably from the shaggy cloak of hair which he wore. His raiment was of camel's hair. Long hair is especially noticed in the description of Absalom's person. But the wearing of long hair was unusual and was only practiced as an act of religious observance by Nazarites and others in token of special mercies. I'm pretty sure that's not true. People have had long hair for years. The first humans didn't have scissors and shears, family. Let's get something straight. Let's have some common sense. The first creatures didn't come out of their mother's womb with shears and clippers. There was no need for it. They didn't, back in the day, they was worried about eating food. Wasn't nobody worried about how long their hair was. In times of that's all from traditions and people over time. In times of affliction, the hair was cut off. Tearing the hair and letting it go deceitful were also tokens of grief. Cutting off the hair is a figure of the entire destruction. Of a people. Let me read that again. Tearing the hair and letting it go disheveled were also tokens of grief. Cutting off the hair is a figure. Cutting off the hair is a figure of the entire destruction of a people. Hello, family, and once again, whose hair they always got cutting off and saying our hair is bad and it's unprofessional and we need to cut it off? Just saying. Once again, the Hebrews anointed the hair profusely with fragrant ointments, especially in seasons of rejoicing. All right, let's go ahead, family, and we about done, family. But just bear with me while I read this. Look, I got some good information though in this sealed portion reading for hair. So just bear with me. I'm gonna read the whole chapter. I mean, well, not the whole chapter, but I'm only going to verse 47. No, 46. So let's go ahead, family. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's do this. All right. Let's get into this reading. Okay. Chapter 91 of the sealed portion. Hope plus faith equals good works, and is the formula set forth for righteousness and happiness. The reasons why people commit crimes against humanity are explained. The form of government that will be upon the earth during the millennium is introduced. The exalted shall be abased, and the abased shall be exalted. Latter-day humans are encouraged to set their governments up according to the government of heaven. And now, my brothers and sisters, if there existeth hope among you in abundance, then there shall also be an exceedingly strong faith. Hold on. Dang, I didn't have this. Oh, man, I know. I hope y'all can hear me, man. Dang, I know y'all can hear me. And now, my brothers and sisters, if there existeth hope among you in abundance, then there shall also be an exceedingly strong faith. And now, my brothers and sisters, if there existeth hope among you in abundance, then there shall also be exceedingly strong faith in that which have created this hope. Therefore, if it is a government that perpetuateth and give unto a man this hope, then this man will have faith in this government and support it, and if necessary, give his life for it. And now the government of men are led by leaders who speak flattering words of hope unto the people. And because of their words of flattery and promises of hope, they deceive the people and manipulate them into believing that the hope that they promise the people with their flattery will be to fruition. But when the hope in which the people have placed their trust is not realized, then the people do not have faith in their government and do not support it. And when the people do not support it, the government shall fail. Therefore, the most important thing to a man is his hope, which bringeth to him the faith that causeth his works. And now, a government that expected the people to support it and trust in it should be able to guarantee the people that for which they hope. Nevertheless, there have been no government upon the face of the earth since the beginning of the accounted history of man that have given all the people that for which they hope. Yea, it is true that the governments of men have provided an opportunity for the few who are rich and who hold power over the poor to realize the hope that bringeth joy to them. But no government based upon the principles and precepts of men which are given unto them according to the plan of Lucifer can provide a hope for all the people. And because these governments have not provided this hope for all the people, many of them do not have faith in these governments, but are forced by the power of these governments, which is held in the hands of those whose hope is fulfilled, to support the government that the rich and the powerful have established for themselves. And if the majority who are poor do not support the government, then by the power of its force, these are imprisoned or killed, thus fulfilling the words of John, which he wrote, saying, oh, my bad, family. Where am I at? Right here. And if the majority who are poor do not support the government, then by the power of its force, these are imprisoned or killed, thus fulfilling the words of John, which he wrote, saying, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And when the people have lost hope in their government, then they no longer have faith in it. and their works become contrary to the principles and laws that these governments have set up. Now these are the reasons for the crimes that are committed by the poor against the rich in the governments of men. Behold, the poor have lost faith in the rich because they do not care for them, nor do they represent their causes and their needs in their governments. And when they have lost the hope that their faith can be realized according to their desires of happiness, then their works seem to be evil in the eyes of the government that have set itself up as an entity from which they should receive the desires of their faith. And when their works are evil according to the government, then these that have lost hope are imprisoned for that which they do contrary to the laws of the land established by these corrupt governments. And it shall come to pass that when the Lord cometh upon the earth, he shall throw down all the governments of men, which have made empty promises by flattering words of their leaders. And he shall establish his government, which shall guarantee unto all the fulfillment of the hope of all their desires. And this hope is that we might be happy in the state of existence in which we have been placed by God, our heavenly Father. Therefore, in the day that he shall cast down all the governments of men, he shall release all the prisoners being held in all of the prisons that shall be established throughout the earth. And it shall not matter to the Lord for what crimes these have been charged, or for what purpose they have been caused by their governments to be incarcerated in prisons. For all the people of the earth shall know that the new government of the Lord is a righteous government, which giveth to all equally those things which will sustain their lives and bring them happiness. And when those that were once prisoners realize that they are now being led by a righteous leader, and that the government of the earth is a government set up for the sake of all the people, and not for the sake and purpose of the rich only, then shall these begin to have an exceedingly great faith in the government, and then they shall not be desirous to commit any crime against it. And it shall come to pass that the whole earth shall be under one government, and it shall fill the entire earth with its laws and its principles. And those who were chosen as leaders of the governments of men shall have their nakedness revealed unto them in that day. In other words, the whole world shall see the wickedness of the manner in which they led the people and held power in their governments. And none of these shall receive the honor and respect that they once received among men. And all the leaders of the governments throughout the history of the earth shall lose the respect and adoration of the people of the earth. And their names and their works shall not be known again throughout the earth. And then shall the words of the Lord be fulfilled when he said, He who is exalted shall be abased, and he who is abased shall be exalted. Behold, in the day of the reign of the Lord, the works of men shall be discovered for what they are. Yea, the whole world shall know that every government set up among the children of men since the days of Adam were governments which followed the plan of Lucifer, and exalted the rich and powerful, and abased the poor, and the meek and the humble among men. And were governments which followed the plan of Lucifer, and exalted the rich and powerful, and abased the poor and the meek and the humble among men. And now it is for this reason which I knew before I started this abridgment of the record of the brother of Jared, that I have not included in this record the names of any of the leaders of the governments of men which have lived upon the earth, except it be those who have been wrought upon by the Lord, or used by him to do his will for the people, even those elect who honored the Lord and obeyed his commandments. Therefore, all ye leaders of the governments of men who shall receive these things, yea, even all ye who have given great accolades to the leaders of your governments and your nations, which ye thought were righteous and noble men among you, behold, I say unto all of you that ye are wicked men, and did nothing to perpetuate the plan of the Father upon the earth. Yea, ye have led the rich and those who hope, ye have led the rich. I'm right here, family. Yea, ye have led the rich and those whose hope was satisfied by you. But the poor and the needy, the widow and the orphan, and those who are in prison, ye did nothing for, except it be that ye fed them from the scraps that fell from your tables. And the honor and glory that ye receive from men shall be as the sand that bloweth off the palm tree in the desert. Yea, the sand covereth the palm, so that glory of its life is hidden from view. And the wind bloweth off the sand, revealing the glory and beauty of the tree. But the sand that covered up the tree is cast amongst the rest of the grains of sand, which is plentiful, and of which there is no distinction, all grains being equal one to another. For in the day of the Lord, no man who have received glory and honor of men shall maintain the same glory in that day. And the Lord shall call forth those whom he hath chosen to be the leaders of his government, which is the government that supporteth the plan of the Father. And when the people of the world shall behold those whom he calleth forth from among them to be the leaders of his government, they shall be astonished at those whom he shall ordain to this power and authority. And then shall the words of the prophets be fulfilled, when they prophesy, saying, The weak things of the world shall come forth, and break down the mighty and strong ones, that man should not counsel his fellow man, neither trust in the arm of flesh, but that every man might speak in the name of God the Lord, even the Savior of the world. For there shall be some called from among the poor, who are cast out by the rich and their governments. And there shall be some called, who have been imprisoned by the governments of men. Behold, then he shall call for those who shall be the principal leaders over the people of the whole earth. And these are many of the prophets who have been cast out and slain by the governments and religions of men, which existed upon the earth since the beginning. And then shall the leaders of the governments and religions of men look upon the leaders whom the Lord hath chosen from among them, and they shall say of them, likewise said of the apostles of the Lord, which is written, saying, Now when they saw the boldness of Peter and John, and perceived that they were unlearned and ignorant men, they marveled. And there shall be great torment among the prideful and the rich and the learned, and those who once held a position of power over the children of men. For these shall know that they are nothing in the sight of God, but that the Lord hath exalted those who were once abased by them. And he shall exalt these that were once perceived as unlearned and ignorant and weak among men. And he shall give them power over the rich and the prideful, and those who held honor and glory among the kingdoms and nations of the earth. And at that day the Lord shall cause that there shall be no body hair upon the face or the bodies of those who have not been ordained by him to have power over the people. And by this shall the people know that a man have been chosen by God to lead the people. Behold, only those men who can grow a beard and who have body hair shall be those who have been chosen by the Lord to lead the people. And in this way there shall be no more deception among the people of the earth as to who is the leader and doeth the will of the Father, and who is not. You hear what I said? I'm going to read that again. And at that day the Lord shall cause that there shall be no body hair upon the face or the bodies of those who have not been ordained by him to have power over the people. And by this shall the people know that a man have been chosen by God to lead the people. Behold, only those men who can grow a beard and who have body hair shall be those who have been chosen by the Lord to lead the people. And in this way there shall be no more deception among the people of the earth as to who is a leader and doeth the will of the Father, and who is not. Behold, at that day the Lord shall establish his government and his laws, and call forth those who shall be in different parts of the world to govern under his authority. And because they shall have a beard, then shall the people know that they have been chosen by God to serve them and lead them in the plan of the Father. And the Lord shall not allow a wicked man to wear a beard, nor shall a wicked man be capable of growing one by nature. And these leaders who are called by the Lord shall set up the kingdom of God, according to the things which they shall be taught by the Lord. And it shall come to pass that the entire world shall be ruled under one government, even a new world order of government, which shall be led by the Lord. And there shall be no bureaucracy in the government of the Lord. For there shall be no need for one man to tell another that which he should do. For all shall be taught the law of the Father, which shall be a universal law that all shall obey. And the reasons why all shall obey this law is because it is a righteous law, which was given unto the people by the Lord, who shall come to the earth in all the glory and power of the Father. And the people shall know that his law is a righteous law, because it guaranteeth unto them the fulfillment of their hopes of peace and happiness. And because the people know that it fulfilleth their hopes, then they have exceeding faith in this law. And their faith shall bring forth works which are meet for his law. And if it is a righteous law, then it shall bring forth righteous works. And from the righteous works of all the people of the earth shall peace and happiness reign upon it. Oh, my bad, family. And it shall come to pass that the entire world shall be ruled. Hold on. Well, I read it. Let me just go. I read that. Let me read this part again real quick. And the day the Lord shall cause that there, and at that day the Lord shall cause that there shall be no body hair upon the face or the bodies of those who have not been ordained by him to have power over the people. And by this shall the people know that a man have been chosen by God to lead the people. Behold, only those men who can grow a beard and who have body hair shall be those who have been chosen by the Lord to lead the people. And in this way there shall be no more deception among the people of the earth, as to who is the leader and doeth the will of the Father, and who is not. Behold, at that day the Lord shall establish his government and his laws, and call for those who shall be in different parts of the world to govern under his authority. And because they shall have a beard, then shall the people know that they have been chosen by God to serve them and lead them in the plan of the Father. And the Lord shall not allow a wicked man to wear a beard, nor shall a wicked man be capable of growing one by nature. And these leaders who are called by the Lord shall set up the kingdom of God according to the things which they shall be taught by the Lord. I want to go back to the first page real quick. Family, if you want to leave now, you can go. But I want to go back and read just the first page real quick, because I know I didn't, not the first page, but just this part, because I know I didn't have it on the screen when I first started. And now the government of men are led by leaders who speak flattering words of hope unto the people. And because of their words of flattery and promises of hope, they deceive the people and manipulate them into believing that the hope that they promise the people with their flattery will come to fruition. But when the hope in which the people have placed in their trust is not realized, then the people do not have faith in their government and do not support it. And when the people do not support it, the government shall fail. Therefore, the most important thing to a man is his hope, which bringeth to him the faith that causeth his works. And now a government that expecteth the people to support it and trust in it should be able to guarantee the people that for which they hope. Nevertheless, there have been no government upon the face of the earth since the beginning of the accounted history of man that have given all the people that for which they hope. Matter of fact, family, that's where I see we are now. Especially a lot of young men have lost hope, family. A lot of people are losing hope right now because of the way things are going. And this is exactly what the seal portion is talking about right now. This is exactly where we are in time. A lot of people losing hope. They have no faith in the government. It's almost like we don't have no future for a lot of men. Especially, yes, women too. But specifically, I speak to men because there's a lot more men. Family, there's a lot more men deleting themselves right now because they don't have no hope. They don't have no hope. And it's like, don't nobody care. And this is where we're at right now. This is where we're getting to. This is signs that we are in, that we truly could be in the true last days. Right before reset or whatever's going to happen. However it looks. Because hope is just gone, family. There's no hope. A lot of us have lost hope, family. We've lost hope. He's like, and honestly, we need to, because we need to wake up from this beast system. We need to get out of this beast system. We are in the beast system, family. We need to stop accepting this mark. And I'm not talking about the Tang Jews. I'm talking about the mark of this society. Anyway, yeah, it is true that the government of men have provided an opportunity. Yea, it is true that the government of men have provided an opportunity for the few who are rich and who hold power over the poor to realize the hope that bringeth joy to them. But no government based upon the principles and precepts of men which are given unto them, according to the plan of Lucifer, can provide a hope for all the people. And because these governments have not provided this hope for all the people, many of them do not have faith in these governments, but are forced by the power of these governments, which is held in the hands of those whose hope is fulfilled to support the government that the rich and powerful have established for themselves. Alright, family. I'm a finish there. Honestly, I'm done. That's the end. Let me make sure. Yeah, that's the end, family. I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed you. But without further ado, I am a healthy, wise, strong, protected, celestial being that is loved by the Most High Creator. I enjoyed you, family. Be blessed. I'll catch you later. Shalom. Look at it. It's 4:44 a.m. and the video is 2 hours and 44 minutes long. Hey, that's a sign. Hey, we on the right path, family. Look at them signs, these numbers. It's 4:08. Let me show you real quick before I get out so you know I ain't lying. Look, it's 4:44 a.m. And this video is 2 hours, 44 minutes, now 44 seconds long. Alright, family, shalom. I'll catch you later. Oh, I didn't show you. There you go. See, 4:44. Alright, family, be blessed. Shalom.